From the Office of the Director of National Intelligence.
More than 16 months of conflict in Sudan have claimed over 20,000 lives, a senior United Nations official reported, underscoring the severe toll of a war that has ravaged the northeastern African nation.
Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, Director General of the World Health Organization, shared the figure during a press briefing in Port Sudan.
2 NATO member nations announced that Russian drones had violated their airspace, with one reportedly entering Romania during overnight attacks on Ukraine and another crashing in Latvia the previous day. Pope Francis journeyed deep into the jungles of Papua New Guinea to honor the Catholic Church's presence in remote regions.
Francis travelled aboard a Royal Australian Air Force C-130 transport plane.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as a statement of fact.
Screw facts.
Fact-checking and corrections are
Who need the fact?
Can I get a cup of coffee in here, please?
I can't do this. I just can't do it. Yeah, right.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with the Dog. You make me laugh.
What's going on over there? Nothing. Nothing is going on over here. Something should be going on over there. Come on. I'm a little late. I know I'm a little late. Because I was lollygagging. If that's the real word. I was gagging lollygagging. Who are these people? Who are you people? Who sent you? Good morning, creeps. It is Tuesday. It doesn't feel like a Tuesday, but it's Tuesday, September 10th, 2024. Today, I think we have a very interesting show for you, although it's one of those days, well, only one of the guests has a name that is going to be tough for me to pronounce. I'll just tell you right now. I should have practiced it. I should practice it. I don't do my homework. I never did my homework. This is the story of my life. I've never done my homework. But Luana, I'm not sure if it's Ribera or Ribera. That's going to be a tough name. And I know she's going to be like, how dare you not get my name right, you bald-headed bastard. Maybe she won't be like that. Maybe I'm just building it up in my mind. Second guest, Bob Greska. I think that's fairly easy. What we're going to talk about first with Luana is PR. And I don't mean Puerto Ricans. No, I mean public relations and publicity and how you get publicity and how you build authenticity and how you get on television and this. Because if you don't know, a few, I don't know the number, authors who have been on this program have come from Dauntless PR, her company. In the second hour, we're going to talk to Bob Greska, who is a scientist. Yeah, and Candace Owen has left the cult of science, by the way. The cult of science. Bob is a lifetime innovator in science, but he's involved in this C60 stuff. You know about C60? I know about C60. I've done C60. C60 is that health supplement. It's a carbon molecule that's supposed to help you live a lot longer. And like, I'd rather live a lot shorter. Or a lot. I don't know. Is the term fewer days, fewer years? I'd like to, I'd like to be dead 10 years ago if I could. That would be a good time for me if I could get in a time machine and go back and kill myself. Then I think the world would be a better place. We don't know. We'll never know because there is no such thing as a time machine. Anyway, in the news, not in the news, in the conspiratorial bullshit blogosphere, Twitter sphere, social media sphere, I believe it was J.D. Vance who started this conspiratorial nonsense that Haitians are going to Ohio. Why would Haitians be in Ohio, first of all? To kidnap your cats and dogs to eat them. I propose a question. Given the GOP's propensity for rejection, which Ohio Republican do you think was eating cat last night? And when I say eating cat, I'm not talking about my friend Cat. Listen, she's happily involved, living with somebody who she's not getting eaten by Ohio Republicans. Now I'm going to get in trouble for that. But it's just ridiculous, folks. And people are not only believing it, but passing it around. If that were true, I'd have a yard full of Haitians because I have a yard full of feral cats. And maybe why don't they only want domesticated cats? It's just insane. It's just of course, tonight is the big debate. I'm really wondering if the Trumpster dumpster is going to say, "Hey, you were born a czar and you let the Haitians come in to eat cats." Well, first of all, we know, and dogs, but don't let the dogs off the hook, by the way. You got a dog that needs eaten. We know Trump doesn't like dogs. But something happened. Well, God only, lots of stuff happened to break him as a young person. Obviously, he's very demented. He just, I don't know. They could build a whole new psychology around whatever broke him in the ways that he's broken, but something to do with dogs. Dogs did it to him. Anyway, yeah. So we're gonna learn about. I know about C60 because I've done C60. Chris Burris. For the life of me, I'm not remembering Chris's company's name, but has supplied me with C60 to do as a trial run. And listen, the promise that was made, if I can remember this, I thought I had a bottle of it right here, was that it could prolong your life. In lab rats, it doubled their lifespan. So the idea was, yeah, we could live to 140, 150 years old. Now, I took it for 2 months straight every day. I'm probably going to share that video of me taking it when Bob gets here. The question I had for Chris was, do I have to continue to take this every day for the next 100 years to continue living? And he said the tests were inconclusive, that it's possible you only have to take it once. What am I taking it for 2 months for? So I stopped taking it. I don't know if that's what's keeping me alive now. If it is, I curse it. I curse it. Somebody really needs to put me out of my misery. I know I'm a grump every day, but today I'm really, really, can I say really one more time? Really unwell. Things going on. I don't want to call it ass cancer. I don't want to call it ass cancer. But call it no, don't get the wrong idea. Or maybe get the wrong idea. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not feeling well is the bottom line. But hopefully I'll feel better. Stephen is not going to be with us today. He's in prison. I don't know, a little thing. Turns out he takes my advice too literally, and somebody was found thrown off his roof. Somebody with one eye missing, by the way. So I give the kid credit for trying to emulate me. But here's the thing: you don't leave evidence. So Steven's in prison. Well, we're sending somebody, not in prison. He's in jail. We're sending somebody to bail him out. Hopefully, he will be back with us tomorrow while he's awaiting trial. Things are looking up. I'm still feeling like crap, but things are looking up. In the meantime, I should really play the commercial for TrueFire, but I think I removed it because there's a thing going on with TrueFire right now. There's special deals. I should know what it was, but if I don't do my homework, how could I possibly know what it was? Anyway, we'll meet the other two guys. The other two guys. That's what they're known as in the blogosphere, the Twitter sphere, the social media sphere. We'll meet them when we come back from this.
Over 2 million guitar players worldwide learn, practice, and play with TrueFire. Our learning tools and massive library of video lessons will ignite technical skills, harmonic knowledge, rhythm playing, and soloing chops. TrueFire's educators are the best in the biz, from Grammy Award winners to world-renowned artists. You'll have access to an unparalleled faculty of over 300 top-notch blues, rock, jazz, country, fingerstyle, and acoustic guitar educators. Using our desktop and mobile apps, you'll work with TrueFire's multi-angle video lessons on any device, anytime, anywhere.
Any device.
Integrated learning tools such as video synced tab and notation, slow-mo, looping, practice jam tracks, and many more handy controls accelerate your learning experience. TrueFire style-specific learning paths guide you every step of the way.
Thermometer. If I pulled out a thermometer.
Use our assessment tools to find your starting point. Then follow our lesson recommendations and track your progress as you work through your personalized TrueFire study plan. Progress faster with private one-on-one instruction, group lessons, multi-track video jams, live streams, song lessons, student forums, TrueFire's Riff magazine, premium jam tracks, and much, much more. With thousands of 5-star ratings and reviews from amateur and pro players alike, you'll find yourself in good company with the world's most comprehensive guitar learning platform. Grab your guitar and ignite your musicality. Sign up free for an all-access trial today.
You are cordially invited. Watch how weird this comes out. See Ron Kane going to steal my spot. Ladies and gentlemen, in the room with me now is the fabulous Ron Kane, comedic talent from the great state of Pennsylvania, and also my best friend of 37 years, the fabulous J.C. Penney. Good morning, J.C. Penney.
Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com. Are you tired of watching the world as it passes you by? No. You can close your eyes, or you can go to MindDog TV and pick up this and purchase our plastic reusable blinder. Just place it over your head like this, and in a matter of time, no time at all, you'll be
Maybe you should have. Why he's gone? We lost him. He let him back. What happened? He died. No time at all. Maybe you should have written the copy on the inside of that so you could read it while you were dying. I
didn't think of that part.
I know. Because I want to just say, you were too busy chasing the Haitians out of your yard.
Chasing them? No, I wasn't chasing them.
You were chasing them with a knife and a fork, saying, "Give me some of that."
I actually was luring them. I had little plastic pussies in the front yard.
I never thought of this. We could use cats and dogs as bait to catch Haitians and then eat the Haitians.
Yeah, see, that's what I was doing. I had little plastic pussies in the front yard. The problem was once I put the pussies out there, the Haitians didn't show up, but Trump did show up to try to grab them.
Now, what would it's just mind-boggling. What would possess? I believe this came from J.D. Vance. What would possess somebody to say, "I got a great idea. I'm going to start like a internet rumor that Haitians are going to Ohio to steal people's cats and dogs to eat them." This was a thought he had, and I'm just wondering how that thought pops into somebody's head.
Okay, if I may.
Yes, you may.
I happen to be I have a PhD in junkology. Now, this is the deal. Their big issue is that people are coming across the border and they're like taking over the country. But most of the country does not see these brown people, and they need an excuse to explain why you don't see them. And the reason you don't see the Haitians is because they are attracted to cats. It is known that there are more cats per capita in Ohio than anywhere else. So the Haitians, they create this myth that the Haitians are in Ohio. That's why the people in Indiana don't see them. But they still should fear them because once the cats are gone from Ohio, they're going to need more cats and they're going to be coming to a cat town near you. That's my theory.
So you are like Candace Owens. You have left the cult of science.
No, I've not left the cult of science. I've reinvented it.
All right. I don't think she was ever in the cult.
I have rebranded science.
I just want to say that there was some misinformation in that description. You said most cats per capita. Most cats per capita is my yard because there are 2 people living here, and there are about like 150 cats.
But technically, per capita means 1,000 people. That's Latin. Per capita is Latin, and there's not 1,000 people in your yard.
No, 1,000 people in my house. You're right. There's only 2 people in my house.
Yeah,
but
so per capita, per 1,000 people, as per Latin.
I think we've tested this. This is science. I believe I'm as annoying as 999 people. So with my wife in here, that makes
but you're not. Your wife is so pleasant that she negates your 999.
Oh,
yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't do the math right. You're right.
Yeah, see, that's what I said. See, I am rebranding science. This is what I spent my life doing. I have a PhD in it.
A PhD.
Yes,
all right.
in rebranding science and junkology.
Now, our good friend Ron, the quiet man, he was at Miller's last night. He went to go because they have a lot of cats there, and he was hungry.
Now, I went to. I did go to Harrisburg last night. I didn't wind up going to Millersville.
Well, who was that guy who looked like? You tell me David Tell showed up at Miller's last night
and was stealing lingerie?
Yeah, and eating cats.
That wasn't me.
What was going on in Harrisburg?
Mr. Tongue was last night, and
whoa! I thought you for some reason I thought you had put that on hold. You put the Tuesday thing, the whatever that doghouse.
Tuesday, Tuesday's on hold because of the liquor control board.
Yeah,
I got no control over that.
Yeah, I said Ron didn't do that. Ron did not put the Tuesday thing on hold. Ron is just a victim of that.
Yeah, but we at the Tongue last night. We sort of had a heckler, and it was a guy who actually he had actually run for mayor of Harrisburg, and he kept fucking talking. So I fucking roasted him really good when I was up there.
Why don't we have that on video? I want to watch a roasting of a heckler. Roasted heckler.
We only had like 5 audience members and like 4 comics last night. It was a light night, but like I said, that guy he ran for mayor and he got 126 votes.
So those people have a high tolerance for just annoying people.
Well, he kept telling us one of his plans was to turn the post office in Harrisburg into an aquarium. That was one of his big plans.
Okay, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Sure, I can see why he would do that. Yeah, I can see that.
All right, the dead air is not good, but I'm confused. I mean, I thought coming up with this Haitians eating cats was weird. Turning a post office into an aquarium is weirder, I think.
Okay. You have to realize that back then there weren't self-stick stamps. Stamps had to be moistened manually. Okay. Now, what better place to moisten a stamp than a place that has lots of water? What place has lots of water? Come on, say it with me. Aquarium.
Well, just the aqua is enough. You don't need the aquarium. You don't need the aquarium. You just need the aqua.
And so that would increase stamp sales because people who don't have to lick them anymore, they can just take them.
Just wipe a wet fish on it.
Yeah, I don't think we have a sound effect for grasping at straws, do we?
Thank God. Thank God. We don't. I think we're out of space for new sound effects. I just want to, and I'm not.
I know. I believe that our guest, Luana Rivera.
Go ahead. You take a shot at that.
I believe it's Rivera. I believe it is. I believe that the quadruple vowel sound is like the double axle in the gymnastics is counted as one move.
Rivera.
Yeah. I think you got to do a roll of the tongue. Rivera. You want to introduce her, or should I introduce her?
You should introduce her because I have no idea what I'm talking about.
All right. Luana is I'm not even going to bother saying her last name. I'll let her teach us.
Puerto Rican. I know that she's a Puerto Rican. It says right here that she's the Dauntless PR.
Yeah. No. No. PR stands for public relations, publicity. I don't know. Yeah, that's
true. I think I know several million people that would disagree with you.
Wow, are there 7 million people in Puerto Rico?
Well, they're not all the.
Oh no,
now they're here.
No.
Actually, most of the Puerto Rico. Actually, that's Philippines.
Are in New York and Ohio.
I'll say the Philippines only have 7 people in the Philippines, only because the rest of the country.
We've offended 7 million people. Wait. Well, I did want to say something about James Earl Jones. We'll get to that after the news in the break. Yeah. We're not doing showbiz. Well, if the showbiz guy got fired, I don't know if HR informed him last night that he's done here.
Yeah, we got a new showbiz guy.
Yeah, we got a new showbiz guy. Luana Rivera, I hope I'm saying it right, best-selling author and the host of It's Luana Show. She is also the founder of Dauntless PR, a business that amplifies personal brands through TV, podcast, magazine, and other media bookings. She is responsible, or her company is responsible, for many of the great authors we've had on this program. She's here now, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome in Luana.
I see the logic now. You're saying, just so you can say to your clients, look, I did it. I survived. You can do it too.
Right.
That's it. Though I am wondering what I've just walked in on here. Like, are we changing all the post offices to aquariums and using fishes for stamps? Like, what's going on?
We were not prepared for that accent.
I was.
You were?
Yeah.
Well, that figures. Good morning. Now, thank you for being here, first of all. And I hope you're having a good
me on.
What part of the country are you in?
I am in the UK. I'm
on a
little island called Anglesey, which is at the top of Wales.
So I am stupid for saying thank you for getting up this morning because it's afternoon there.
It's afternoon, it's afternoon here.
Yeah. Well, thank you, and good afternoon. Now, if my memory is shot, but if memory serves me correctly, I used to deal with somebody named Lucy at Dauntless PR. Is she no longer there? Or
she is indeed. She's a fantastic publicist.
How come I haven't heard from her in months?
I don't know. I'll have to ask her about that.
Matt, what was the last
our team has grown, so there's lots of other people who you might have heard from since.
I think she was my exclusive rep there. Go ahead, GD. What do you have?
Matt, the last time you spoke to her, what did you say? That could explain why.
I probably implied that PR meant Puerto Rico, and she probably got offended by that. Anyway, question, because now you are an actress too, right? Or you started as an actress before you got into helping people.
Both. I mean, I took a break when I started the PR, and then in the past few years, I've gone back into acting again.
Now, a big part of my audience and what we have here are entertainers. Yeah, I know it's hard to believe looking at them, but PR is a thing that a lot of people who are at our level of the show business sewer. They struggle with, and we struggle with getting publicity, establishing your name brand, your brand for what you do. In this case, comedy up here, and music especially, and we work with that. What is the first in your mind? What is the key to establishing you so that people will take you seriously and not want to abuse you right from the start?
You know, like the more people can amplify the very real parts of themselves, the things that make them unique, that's what's going to help them to cut through the noise. The main mistake that a lot of people make is they try and blend in and be like everybody else. Like using entertainers as an example, I massively messed up my acting career at one point because I listened to some very bad advice that I should go for the more mum roles and that I should make myself more mainstream because I was very, very much a horror actress and still am. So in trying to blend in and become more mainstream, I not only didn't book the mum roles because I wasn't being authentic anymore, but I stopped booking the horror roles as well. And that's a kind of thing that can happen when people aren't fully being themselves, but they're portraying this image of who they think people want.
I have a question real quick, because it seems as though most of the actors and actresses that we encounter in the US from the UK do US accents very, very well. Are you among those? Yes. Are you among those who can just whip off a Texas accent or New England accent or?
Well, he's right. He's absolutely right. There are a number of actors and actresses who you would not know because they do it so well. It just seems like it's a standard American accent that easy to do because, and this is, I've had a experience to try to convince a bunch of English guys that I could do an English accent. They all laughed at me and they said really nasty things about me. But so I think it's harder to do for an American to do an English accent than it is for somebody in the UK to do it. Yeah.
Well, I think part of that is because in the UK, well, in England generally, there are multiple accents. And most of us do not get the nuances between, let's say, a Cockney accent and Liverpool, and to us, it's all English. It's all a British
and they're
accent.
so different as well. Like it's not just a tiny difference.
Right.
So when people are used to hearing, you know, the RP accent, and then they hear someone from, say, Scotland, well, Scotland isn't England, but they hear somebody with a Scottish accent or Welsh even, or Irish, or Liverpool, Manchester, like they're all so different.
But we don't hear them as different. Part of it because also in our culture, we're not prone to listening. We're more prone to talking. And that's why we can't tell the fucking difference. We don't listen.
You speak for yourself and shut up for yourself. When Jamie, I have a couple of friends who have been on this network. They had their own show. They're no longer doing it because they're kind of going through a divorce right now. Jamie and Carl. Jamie is from Wales and Carl is from Manchester, and you can definitely hear the difference. I can hear the difference, and I'm a Brooklyn boy. So anyway, we get off accents because thinking about PR and what it means in this space, in this media space called digital broadcasting, podcasting, whatever you want to call it. The first question people ask are, what are your numbers? And for me, it's really difficult to, it's a math problem of having to do too much addition to go around to too many different platforms that we're on. And it's always a really annoying question. What are your numbers? How many downloads? How many live streams and all that stuff? It would take me literally weeks of math work to kind of come up with an average because every show is different depending on the guests and all that stuff. But I know it's an annoying question for me. And I know people that have great platforms, they get the same question and they're annoyed with it too, because sometimes their numbers are not great, even though they have a great platform. And there is value beyond the numbers that they reach, because now you have a digital interview that you can share on your website and in your PR and all that kind of stuff. So that part of, but can you, and I talk to, because I've been trying to get more celebrity entertainers on the program, and a PR person said to me, you have to work with the agencies that are giving you authors and all these people, and tap into them and say, I'll take everybody you have, as long as you can get me your stars and all that kind of stuff. That's a way to get through these people. For this, have you learned anything about this medium? Not so much television, not so much radio, we are on radio, but how this medium can establish authenticity and not authenticity, but authority in this space, beyond just trying to do all the math and calculations of how many people, where you're reaching them, your demographics, and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, and I'm really happy that you mentioned that, actually, about figures, because I think people can get bogged down by wanting to know all of this stuff, like, is it going to be worth it for me, when actually the better question to ask would be, can I deliver value to that audience, and to go in with an attitude of, how can I help? Like, what value can I bring, as opposed to what can I get? Because podcasts, well, this anyway, but podcasts are very much a collaboration. And the way that they're going to build their credibility and authorities by getting in front of audiences, regardless of the figures, and then to use it with their marketing afterwards. So to effectively promote the episode and highlight, the episode that they were in.
Right. Now, the expectations sometimes are way out of line. Like, I've had authors come on, and 2 days after they've been on, they write to me, I haven't sold a book yet. And I was like, well, first of all, nothing is like immediate anyway, but the expectation, lining up your expectations beforehand, I've learned to actually kind of temper those expectations some. What do you deal with that in your conversations with people on, like, what to expect
yes.
as a result of this?
Yes, it's a really common misconception that PR is a lead generation and sales tool. It's not. It's an amplification tool for their existing strategies. So, yeah, every now and again, they will get people coming through and buying their book or whatever directly, more so for podcasts than other kinds of press. But the goal for any sort of PR, whether that's podcast, television, radio, it has to be to share their message, to create impact. And what that does is it builds their credibility, their authority, they're reaching new audiences. And that gradually has a slow burn effect that has a real great impact on their leads and sales, but it's not the tool. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah. And I totally agree with that. I don't know why that needs to be explained to people, but it certainly does.
I think it comes back to having that attitude again of, some people, their primary motivator is wanting to help people create impact. That seems to be, that's also the people who everything happens for business-wise. Like, that's when they're selling their books, their programs, their courses. But then other people come in with the attitude of, well, what am I going to get? And I think it's because they're so used to tracking every little figure on their marketing, they start to treat PR like their marketing, but it's not. It's the spotlight that shines a light on their marketing. It's not the marketing. So any tracking that they make on it, well, it's going to lead back to their leads and sales systems. What they're not seeing is people Googling them at point of sale and seeing them on MindDog and clicking on that episode and being moved by what they were saying,
Yeah, very good stuff. And it comes back to this discussion, because a lot of people, especially in the entertainment world, want to be famous. Want to be famous. And I come back to the entrepreneurial equation that you just brought up, is that in anything, whether it's in entertainment or in selling widgets, it's how can I add value? The celebrity status will come because you've added more value to people's lives. If you're an entertainer, you're giving people joy, bringing joy into their lives. That's a value proposition. You are bringing, and they celebrate you because of that value you added to your life. I think a lot of people in many different businesses, especially in entertainment, they leave that first element. How do I add value for people? How do I create value in their lives? And without that, it's really hard to get any traction at all. So, thank you for reiterating that message. I don't know how many times we have to say it before people actually start to get it. But 10, 7.
7 apparently.
Right. Okay, I did not know that. Well, I've said it more than 7. So.
Oh, per hour.
Oh, so, that's a lot. So, but is there anybody, like somebody comes to you and says, I want to amplify my message and get out there. Is there anybody who you will deem not ready, and if so, why?
Yeah, I mean, there's never a time when it's too early for PR, as long as they know their stuff. If they are, but it's always going to be more effective when they've got their foundations in place. Like, there's no point amplifying something that's not there yet. So if they don't have their offer, if they don't really know their messaging, if they don't have their audience, then it's probably best to start with those first. Although a big thing to remember as well is, we're never done. We're always refining these things, but they have to have a clear idea on these things. If a really good indicator is, have they got an offer that's selling, whether that's a book, whether they've got a movie out, whether they're selling a program, whatever it is. If they've got something out there that's already selling, then it would be a good idea to put the spotlight on it and get more people aware of it.
Okay, I have a question then. Like, for example, let's take an imaginary person. Let's say Paul McCartney from the Beatles.
That's not imaginary.
I've never met him. As far as I know, he's not real. Okay. So when he was with the Beatles, he was very, very popular. You could put the spotlight on him, great. Once he left the Beatles, before Band on the Run, he was like in this really sunken place where the fans they were still waiting for something great to happen. Critics were bashing him. And so for like 2 or 3 years, he was like really unpopular, so to speak, as far as compared to where he was up until Band on the Run. Now, should he not have had PR to amplify the fact that he was in a bad place? Or should he have still had the PR because he was Paul McCartney? And damn it, I'm Paul McCartney,
Okay, that's a really great question. And I definitely, I don't believe this whole thing of all PR being good PR. Like, it's not. So in his case, it would have been finding the things that the public would have found favorable. It would have been having the right sort of PR to turn around that public perception and to get his people back on side. That's what my mission would have been if I was working on his PR.
Okay, so even though the material that he was writing, those albums that he had before Band on the Run were not critically acclaimed, there would be still like a PR spotlight on him saying, hey, look, this is still Paul McCartney. I mean, how would you do it? Because if the critics don't like the music and the fans aren't buying the music, it's hard to say, look, he's still Paul McCartney. Yeah, you don't like the song he's writing. He's not a Beatle anymore, but come on, he's Paul McCartney. He wasn't even a Sir yet, was he?
So for that, I would still shine the spotlight on him and his work, because there are always going to be critics. There are always going to be people saying negative things, and the negative voices are usually so much louder. So I would trust in that situation that he is still reaching the people who is on his side, the people who do still appreciate that music.
Okay, since we don't know how his career turned out, and he is an imaginary person. I appreciate your answer. We'll have to wait to see how it turns out, how his career, how he winds up. But.
Let me just interject here. First of all, GD's imaginary guy. I think he has a couple of nightmares that he's mingled together there, but I don't think he has his facts straight on his own imagination. I think there's some problem there. But he did bring up an interesting question, is because we want, the only time the public hears about PR, public relations, is when somebody is gotten in trouble. They said something that is a negative thing that's out there, and it's used to counter the negative messaging that got out there in some way. But it for the most part, PR should be a positive thing as opposed to publicity stunts and all that stuff. And the difference between publicity and PR, public relations, what is the difference?
So publicity can be anything, publicity is just showing people whatever's going on. PR is more strategic. So it's, in our case especially, it's highlighting how the very real and genuine part of that person that their people are going to resonate with. It's not paying attention to the voices who aren't their ideal client either. So that's a really interesting point, is that there can be a lot of negative comments. There can be maybe 2 or 3 positive ones. And it does not mean that they've got a bad reputation, because it's only their ideal clients' opinions that count. And that's what I was getting there with the imaginary characters story there.
Yeah. Do you ever, do people come to you with, I've got a bad situation, I need help fixing the public messaging that's out there?
Yeah, they have done. Quite often, people haven't even thought about PR until something's gone wrong, and it can be something like they're being trolled or something like that. We're not specialists in crisis communication, so sometimes, depending on the situation, we have referred them to somebody else. If it's general trolling, then that's something we're very used to dealing with. Like we had somebody who, she was being trolled like mad, and she had made a mistake, and her natural reaction was to hide, and she wanted it all to go away, but it wasn't all going to go away. So we worked with her, and it was really, really quick, because when people are under pressure like that, they they can't think clearly. They're too close to the situation. They're too emotional. And so we just let her know exactly step by step what to do. Usually, well, sometimes it's just ignore it. But when it's a case of, is your reputation going to be damaged? Usually what they need to do is, if they've made a mistake, is to hold their hands up, apologize, let people know how they're going to put it right, and not to hide away, because that's giving up any power that they have, any control over their own reputation, and they're just letting the public run wild with it. Anyway, we put these steps into place. She followed exactly what we said, and within 1 hour, everything had come down, because the main instigator had asked everybody else who they'd rounded up. They told everybody that it was a mistake. They told everyone, her side of the story, and they'd asked them to take it all down. So that was cleared. That's just an example of one that was cleared up really quick. Every case is different, though.
There is, in the comedy world especially, there's 2 different sides of this conversation. It's the value or negative effect of on social media, especially on the internet, connecting with your fan base in a way like responding to comments, even reading the comments. Lots of two different opinions about that. Some people say, don't do it. Don't read the comments. Don't ever reply to them. Some people say it's absolutely necessary to establish that relationship, to read the comments and show your fan base that you care enough that to listen to them and respond to them. Do you have any take on that? Especially, I know you're not in the comedy space, but in any entertainment space, is that? Do you have an opinion of which is the better of those philosophies?
I do. So for mainstream press, like when something's going out on another platform and it's going out to millions and there's like hundreds and hundreds of comments, they're not your specific audience. We've got a phrase at Dauntless: never read below the lines. No good ever comes out of that. That's where the trolls live. However, on your own social platforms, that's a different story. That's your audience. They're following you. They want to know you. Like when you're out in the mainstream, that's one thing. But when you bring your people back into your socials, that's when you deepen that connection. So yes, read those comments. Yes, respond to them. You don't have to respond to all of them. I don't typically respond to troll comments. Some people remove them as well. I just leave them and ignore them, and I just respond to the ones who are being nice. Like that's what I do, and it works for me.
Well, let me just say that within the, and I'm sure you know this from your background, but artists, entertainers can be extremely sensitive, and we can read things and think it's a troll comment when somebody is actually thinking they're helping. I had a situation like that just last week, and I can't wrap my head around how they thought that would be helpful. But sometimes we misread the intent in those comments, and they're not really trolls. They're thinking they're giving us constructive criticism.
We need tolerance. We need tolerance and a thick skin, and it's exposure that allows that to happen. Now, a few years ago, when I got troll comments, I was affected really, really badly, and I would take them as fact. And just like your example there, I would look at a comment that was maybe just saying they didn't like something or they didn't resonate with it or whatever, and I take that personally. But we absolutely cannot do that. We've got to work on ourselves to build ourselves up so that they can just they just drift off, that we don't absorb them.
But we're in, when I say we, I mean people in entertainment. We have basically three tiers, so to speak. We have the fan base, the people that we are performing for and to. We have our peers, the one who do what we do on the same level. And then there's the people who actually book us or control the venues that and the media at which we want to perform in.
Go ahead, use the word.
What?
Gatekeepers. I like that word.
No, I wasn't going to say that.
No, you weren't going to say it. I wanted you to say it. Could you say it, please?
No.
Right,
because that's not what I was going to say. Well, I guess ideally, if your career is firing on all cylinders, all three of those groups would have the same opinion of you. But if one group decides, let's say Matt's people, the gatekeepers, you happy now? The gatekeepers aren't on your side for whatever reason. They have a bad opinion of you, so they're not going to book you or hire you or let you in their venues. Can you then do the PR just to spotlight that particular group, since the other two groups are fine with you?
I mean, you could definitely find some niche outlets targeting just those. I'm not sure that it's necessary. I think the gatekeepers usually, like, if that entertainer is going to bring an audience, then usually they will book, unless it's something like maybe they clash on something, maybe they don't resonate. But typically it's money that talks, isn't it? And if they bring the audience in, then typically they're going to get booked.
Yeah. Now you have written a book, and I'm showing it's right on the cover here for people who are watching on the internet here. It's Invisible to Invincible. And Dauntless is the main. I guess that's the tagline: "Invisible to Invincible." But Dauntless is the name of the book. Now that implies that at least the Dauntless part of it implies that it takes a lot of persistence and just never giving up, like constant sticking to a strategy, but here's a problem. If your strategy is failed, we have to be flexible enough to change strategy and understand that we can't just be clinging to a bad strategy, dauntlessly clinging to a bad strategy. How do you know that your strategy is a sound one?
Okay, so with PR, it's, are you getting booked, first of all? It's, are you getting booked? Like, are people wanting your angles and everything like that? Look, I'm not suggesting at all. PR has to be consistent, but I'm not suggesting at all that people don't move with the tide. You know, they have to be able to look at their booking rates and look at the response and the engagement that they're getting from the people who matter, their ideal clients, to see if they're going on the right track. And if they're not, then yeah, they should deviate on that. So the word dauntless comes more from having what I call the dauntless spirit. So not playing it safe, not just going into the media with any old opinion that you can find on Google and trying to mold yourself to be like everybody else, but it's having the courage to really be yourself, to be strong with your opinions and to stand by those. And also to go, like, because so many people want to create impact, but then they say, oh, but I only want to go on platforms who align with my message. Well, if you want to create an impact, go onto the platforms who don't, go onto the platforms who don't agree with what you're saying already. That's where you're going to have
Yeah, we definitely don't want to create. And speaking of what this space is, you don't want to create an echo chamber where the only audience you're talking to are people who already agree with your message to begin with. You're not going to change anybody's mind. You're not going to have any influence over anybody. You're just basically talking to get a attaboy, and I agree with you, and that can only last for so long.
That's it.
Yeah. But with the book now, because this is interesting to me, because the publishing space is so overcrowded. It's like the comedy space right now. Everybody wants to be a stand-up comedian and thinks they can be. Everybody wants to be an author and thinks they can be. And both of those are probably have truth to them in that actually doing the work, anybody can do it, but to be successful at it and to cut through the noise and make yourself visible is a difficult thing. And at some point, I think some people thought, I need to write a book, and correct me if I'm wrong here, because I've dealt with a lot of people. I need to write the book as a publicity, like a calling card. Here's my card, here's my book, in order to present my message. But that makes it really difficult because they're not authors. They never intended to be an author. They just wrote a book for the sake of publicity. And do you deal a lot with that? And do you have advice for that, or you just take it as it comes? By the time they come to you looking for help with PR, they've already written their book and already had laid down a strategy.
Sometimes they have, and sometimes they haven't. And we do help people to self-publish books as well. So, you know, if we've been able to work with them on their book, then we'll always make sure that their message is coming across loud and clear, and that the book leads to the outcome that they want, you know, that it is instilling the right ideas into their readers, and that it's putting them across in the right way. And yeah, you know, a lot of these people aren't authors, but coaches or entertainers who want to write a book, you know, as an extra thing. Yeah, so it's just working with them on that process. Really, the most common mistake that people make is they try and be too perfect. Like they try and write a book like they'd write an English essay or something, and that's not what people want from a book that's for personal branding. They just need to write how they talk, you know, and the editor will clean it up and make sure that it's readable, but they just need to share, they just need to write from the heart, really, but following a structure to a point.
I think from the consumer perspective, it creates a little bit of confusion, and maybe I'm complicit in that, but I'm just thinking specifically for the people I've interviewed who have written a book and have published a book for the sake of creating brand awareness for themselves. And then they come on a segment that I have called Meet the Author, where we have people who are avid readers expecting to meet an author, and then they start thinking I'm more of an author now, and forgot about the reason I wrote the book for, the brand that I was trying to amplify with the book. All of a sudden they take on the persona of being an author without ever intending to be an author. And I've had more than a couple of hundred of those where you're an author. I'm not, authorship is not what I want to do, and it's not who I am. But this is what they get on now, and people who are coming interested in books want to hear the stories, and it does create a little bit of brand confusion or message confusion because we're pitching you as an author, but you're not an author. You just happen to have authored a book.
I also think that happens with, let's say, actors or people who, like, I'm going to take John Wayne, for example, another imaginary character, John Wayne. But back before Marion, this imaginary character became John Wayne. Once John Wayne became an actor, they were two entities. There was John Wayne the cowboy, and then John Wayne the person. And then over time, John Wayne the cowboy, that character became so popular that I think that John Wayne the person wanted that same love. And so he began to act like he became a caricature of himself, or a caricature of his character, so that he could be loved or feel the love that his character felt. Right. I think that's also part of it. Your character, your persona is more loved than you are. But wait, that's me. I want that love too. So you start to act like your persona.
Yeah.
That's just a theory I have that I've been shopping around to different places that buy theories.
It's terrible. It's terrible. I think this theory market is all it's oversaturated, and you're gonna have a tough time selling that. Theories are just kind of a dime a dozen now, but good luck with it.
Thank you.
But do you is that an issue for you with the book stuff? Is that make sure you're talking about the message behind the book, not so much your position as the author of the book?
Well, I think it's natural for anybody, or for most personal brands, to have more than one string to their bow. Like, of course, the more they're known for one thing, the more successful they're going to be at that one thing. So everything else that they do needs to support that. So as long as the book is supporting that and not distracting it from it, then I can't see any issue.
All right. Now, you and I've seen, I think on your website, which is going across the bottom, dauntlesspr.com, references to cable outlets here in the U.S. and they're worldwide cable outlets, but they're based here in the U.S. Do you work with people in the UK and the U.S. or worldwide on? And if so, do the platforms matter? Like Fox, I think Fox and Friends is one of those things is on your website. Like, would that add any value? Do people in Europe even watch it? Does it add any value to them?
Oh yes,
the worldwide
yes. So the great thing about any kind of television is they get incredible clips from them that they can then use for their marketing, and of course, they can use the logos and everything like that as well. So it's not just about the initial exposure. We do have a full process around how to use them afterwards to get the best out of them. And any kind of TV is great, and we work all over the globe, but mainly UK and USA.
Do you work with people to coach them on, not coach, maybe coach is the right word, about how to handle, because I've had, not from you, not from Dauntless, but I've had publicity and PR companies send me people for an interview, and some of them just seem like they don't know what to expect. They've never really had been part of a conversation for the intent of amplifying their brand and expressing their message. And it's really a struggle. Do you work with people on what to expect, and what would that look like in terms of preparing them for this world?
100% yes. So what I've found is when they're first starting with interviews, a lot of people have this idea that they'll just practice on a podcast or whatever, and we're like, no, that's not where you practice. You practice in private, you go and shine on a podcast, right? So we have a course, first of all, where they learn the do's, the don'ts, like how to best portray themselves on an interview, how to answer certain questions, how to deal with whatever when something goes wrong. So they learn all of that. And then every month we have something called a Dauntless Roast, which is basically, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's where we put them under pressure. We hire in an actor to play the part of a host who challenges them, and they ask them difficult questions. But all of this is in a very safe space. It's just with us. It's never shown to anybody publicly. And then we come on and we give them feedback at the end as to what they could have done better, what they did do really well, what they could have done better. And doing that, because it's one thing to know the right things to do, but having yourself ready to just slip into those things, completely different story. So we have our members run through that process, and it's so effective, and it's so much fun.
That's an incredible value proposition right there. And I think even beyond the PR stuff, just to be able to prepare yourself in that way, that's an incredible value proposition.
And it's such great fun as well. Like it's the highlights of my month.
Well, if you ever need someone to roast somebody, to pretend,
I knew it. He's plugging.
We'll have to talk about that. Yes. We'll have to talk about that for sure.
No, he would never pass for a host, because look at him. Look at him. He would never pass nobody would believe. It's not believable. I wouldn't cast him as a host. Actually, I have.
Did not Rosemary think I was not just a host but the creator of the show?
She's dead. Let's remember that she's dead. All right.
You probably killed her. Probably. You were the last person seen with her alive.
All right. We don't have to rub that in.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Moving on. So, do you work with people in the entertainment space? Like, do you work with comedians, actors, musicians, and so forth?
We have done, but mainly we work with coaches and consultants, like people building personal brands. But yes, we have worked with actors and comedians too.
That's a whole different thing, because, as I mentioned, those people are damaged. Those people, like I'm disconnected from them. More interested in fame, get name recognition, personal name recognition, face recognition, than they are necessarily moving a product or something like that. It's all about me. What can I get booked in more clubs? Can I get more concerts? Whatever it is, it's a whole different. It's the same, but it's different. And looking for how you measure results in my personal appearances, more personal appearances than that, then what am I actually moving my brand? Is my brand selling more product or services and stuff? So it's a whole different thing. So when people come to you now, how does it start off? Do you start with a consultation? I mean, somebody comes into you and says, I need help with PR. What would you say? Do you even know what PR means?
Well, yeah. I mean, first of all, I will ask them what they already know about PR, how they feel it can help them. And, we dig into all of that, and then we explore how it could look like for them specifically, and whether or not, we're the right ones for them.
Yeah,
Maybe we're not.
that's such an unusual space you're in, because you are selling a service that you provide for people, but it doesn't exist until you know what their needs are, because there's no one size fits all. So it's got to be like every opportunity for you has got to look a little bit different. You'd never do the same thing by road ever, right? Or am I overstating that?
No, that's right. I mean, we only work with a specific type of person as well, a person who wants to create an impact in the world, who has a positive message. And every so often we'll have somebody coming through who has a different intention. Well, it just means that we refer them to somebody who's more suited to them, like we're for a very specific type of person. So the first step is figuring out, are we likely to be a good fit for what they
So
need?
You would never work with somebody like Ron Kane, who has never spoken a word in his life. He doesn't know how to talk. See? I'm kidding. I'm just busting his chops a little bit. But so this is interesting. Now I'm reluctant to even ask this question because it is so tacky. But budget-wise, if I'm going to work with you, if I'm going to come to you and say, I want you to help me establish my brand and amplify my brand, what kind of budget would I need to kind of start?
It's a sliding fee. So someone like you, Matt, who has no money, they'd have to do charity.
Wait, Ron was going to say a word.
I'm sorry. Go, Ron.
And also, how much mustache oil will Matt need for this?
Oil. You think I oil my mustache? It doesn't squeak.
Not anymore.
No, because I've oiled it well. Yeah, shut up, Ron. No, can you answer those questions? I mean, I don't want to ask you about your pricing and all that stuff, but as a somebody who needs PR, somebody who needs amplification, do you recommend?
Well, I can tell you our prices go from £500 a month upwards to 2,200 a month. I'm happy to share that. Other agencies have various pricing, so it just, it is worth looking around and making sure that you're finding the agency that really gets who you are and what you want to achieve, who backs your message, and also whose pricing like you can afford, because PR isn't something to jump into for a month or two or even 3. PR is a long-term approach. It's something to keep going with.
Now, I weighed myself this morning and I weighed 206 pounds. So if I was to try to do 500 pounds, I'd have to put on like another 294 pounds. I'm not sure that's healthy.
I don't know what to say to that.
No, you don't have to say anything. Don't worry. This is his last day on the program. You just say bye to him and tell him enjoy his retirement. And listen, we appreciate you being on here and sharing your message. I hope people, especially people who are in need of public relations and understand what public relations really is, will look into dauntlesspr.com. And Val, I hope you take advantage of your services. Book is called Dauntless: From Invisible to Invincible. Guest this morning has been Luana. Say your last name.
Rivera.
See, it does have that little roll. I know I can't do that roll for some reason. I don't know.
If it were a joint, you could roll it.
That's true. Low-hanging fruit again. Luana, thank you for being part of the program. We do appreciate it, and good luck. And if you have any celebrities, like anybody who has any name recognition, please do send them my way. I'm looking to attract more viewers through having somebody who they really are, like comedians, musicians, entertainers, and any of that stuff. So if you have any that you represent, please suggest us, and I'll try my best not to misbehave and embarrass you.
Okay, there you go.
Thanks you for being so here. Much. It's been lots of fun.
No, you have been very informative. Thank you very much, and good luck with all you do. Thanks for being here. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Look, the book is covering my face. You like that? I look better now, don't I? we're going to do news, and then we'll meet our next guest. And I want to play a clip of my experience with the carbon 60 element. I don't think he knows that I've had experience with carbon 60, but he's going to find out in just one moment. In the meantime, let's listen to some news with our friend Alan Edwards.
And the AI team.
Pope Francis journeyed deep into the jungles of Papua New Guinea to honor the Catholic Church's presence in remote regions.
Francis travelled aboard a Royal Australian Air Force C-130 transport plane from Port Moresby to Vanimo, located on the northwest coast of the South Pacific island nation. There, he met with local Catholics and missionaries from his native Argentina who have been serving the community. Chris Anderson reporting.
2 NATO member nations announced that Russian drones had violated their airspace, with one reportedly entering Romania during overnight attacks on Ukraine and another crashing in Latvia the previous day.
A drone entered Romanian airspace early Sunday as Moscow targeted civilian sites and port infrastructure along Ukraine's Danube River, Romania's Ministry of National Defense reported. Bucharest dispatched F-16 fighter jets to monitor the skies and sent alerts to residents in 2 eastern regions. Benjamin Wright reporting.
More than 16 months of conflict in Sudan have claimed over 20,000 lives, a senior United Nations official reported, underscoring the severe toll of a war that has ravaged the northeastern African nation.
Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, Director General of the World Health Organization, shared the figure during a press briefing in Port Sudan, a coastal city that hosts Sudan's internationally recognized military-supported government. He warned the death toll could be even higher. Joseph Eckerson reporting.
With 60 days remaining until the U.S. presidential election, foreign entities, mainly Russia, China, and Iran, are escalating their influence efforts.
This is according to an official from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. As we approach Election Day, we are witnessing increased activity from foreign actors, the ODNI official stated during a call with reporters. Russia remains the leading and most active foreign influence threat to the election, officials emphasized. Liam White reporting.
Yeah.
This is the latest news headlines.
They got anything that isn't depressing? Give me something that's not depressing, Al. Al? Al! Al! You up? You awake?
The Mega Millions jackpot has surged to an estimated $800 million with a cash option of $401.8 million for Tuesday's drawing after no one hit the winning numbers in Friday night's drawing.
Only 2 Mega Millions jackpots have been won this year. Prior to the Illinois win, a $1.1 billion ticket was purchased in New Jersey in March. That prize remains unclaimed, with winners in New Jersey given 1 year to collect their winnings. Kevin Sanders reporting.
A California woman missing for 12 days has been found alive but severely dehydrated and emaciated, according to the Nevada County Sheriff's Office.
Esmeralda Marie Pineda, 24, was rescued at the top of a river canyon near the Yuba River, north of Sacramento, the Sheriff's Office stated. Pineda was airlifted to a hospital for immediate treatment after her discovery. Jessica Oakley reporting.
A vehicle crashed into an Elks Lodge in Arizona, injuring more than 20 people, according to police.
The driver is in custody and alcohol was a contributing factor, the Apache Junction Police Department said in a social media statement. 10 people were taken to local hospitals, while 15 others were treated for minor injuries at the scene, authorities confirmed. Lawrence Keller reporting.
A man who was initially identified as a person of interest in a Kentucky highway shooting that wounded 7 people and struck 9 vehicles is now considered a suspect, according to authorities.
Joseph A. Couch, whom the Laurel County Sheriff's Office described as armed and dangerous and not to be approached, remained at large as of Sunday afternoon, while an extensive manhunt continued in the vicinity of Saturday's shooting near London, Kentucky. Kyle Norris reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
I only had a bomb. That lottery story. So, $800 million is nothing to sneeze at. If you were going to take carbon 60 and live to be like 140 years old, you'd want to make sure you win the lottery at least once to kind of, because Social Security will run out before the 140 years that you're going to live. Before we meet Bob Greska, I want to play my clip of my experience taking carbon 60, 40. I'm sure changing the carbon just a little bit for every day, twice a day for 2 months. Here we go. Oh, I got to play it. Don't I have to play it? Yes, I do. last week I had a guest on. It tastes. I'm sorry, I had it queued up. Mind dog, I do my yes. Well,
music. It just like gets me.
No, I don't know what happened. Excuse me, I screwed up. I had it queued up. Oh well, we're not going to do that. I had it queued up of me taking this stuff every single day. I tape myself taking it every single day.
Watch 2 months worth of.
No, I cut it up really quickly. Just me taking the stuff and reacting. My biggest problem with taking the carbon 60 was they coat it with olive oil, and you would think, being what I am ethnically,
Okeechobee.
Yeah, olive oil would not be a repulsive thing to me, but I can stand the olive oil stuff. So anyway,
you were probably raised on the good stuff, like the extra virgin olive oil, and probably for cost reasons they may be using just virgin olive oil.
Now, what? How do you get extra virgin? Maybe my understanding of what virgin means is off.
The extra virgins run very fast.
Now it's if you do if you make the olive oil right, you get 27 virgins when you go to heaven.
Well, I'll see you in hell.
Yeah, see, and also extra olive.
I'm really disappointed in myself.
Extra virgins still have their pimentos intact.
At one time, I got a clip ready to play, and then it didn't work, and I'm like, well, I just feel like hitting myself with a hammer when that happens. Anyway, it was a good clip. Tomorrow I'll load it into the back end so we can watch it tomorrow. Bob Greske is a lifetime innovator of science, from fiber optics, shuttle tile production, and NASA transitioning to health and wellness, improving the quality of life by developing carbon 60 supplements. He's here now. Let's meet Bob Greske. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Matt. How are you today?
I'm alive now. When I was first pitched carbon 60 products, I was told that because of experiments in lab rats, it prolonged their life or doubled their lifespan, that it could work for me, so I could live to be 140. I thought those were extraordinary claims. Are you of the opinion that it can expand our lifespan to something like that, or is that hyperbole?
Well, no. They tested it in laboratory rats, and it basically doubled their lifespan. They lived 90% longer. Now, the way it works, we have free radical damage from, toxins in the food, air, and water. And if you have too many free radicals in your cells, that causes cell death. So if you can minimize the free radicals with the carbon 60 molecule, you minimize cell death. So you use your telomeres less, and most likely, we don't know with rats, it showed that it extended the lifespan, but with humans, that's still, questionable out there.
Right.
There are no human beings that have lived to be 140 yet.
Not yet, but the quality of life of many people, of many of my customers that come and take our carbon 60, their quality of life is greatly improved. They feel better, they look younger, they act younger, they think younger, and they feel younger.
That's an interesting point, because I brought that up right from the start when we were talking about living longer. I don't want to live longer if I'm going to continue living the miserable life that I've had. But so it's about quality of life. It's about being able, not, I don't want to live to 140 if I'm going to be in a wheelchair and basically, sorry, Stephen, I don't mean anything by that. If I'm going to be incapacitated and my quality of life will be dependent upon others to take care of me, that's not the kind of life we're looking for. We're looking to keep life sustainable, to where we are able to enjoy life, get around, take care of ourselves, and all that kind of stuff. With the experiments and with the results that you've seen, have you seen that where people are avoiding nursing homes, assisted living, and all that, or have we not had enough time with human consumption of it yet to actually see those results realized?
No, we've had enough time. We've seen people, most people that take the product, in about 4 days, they have more energy. They feel like they have more energy. They want to do something. Like my dad, for instance, he said, I want to get up and do something. He's, just didn't want to sit on the couch. And so you're more active, so you burn more calories. Your body functions better. Yeah, I think that's a big improvement with people. That we've seen quite a bit of more activity, more brain activity, mental acuity, everything across the board. I mean, free radicals are molecules.
Define what that means, because I'm sure if I'm confused by it,
Okay.
part of the audience is.
Well, free radicals. Okay, if you have a toxin, okay, a toxin comes in your body. They're an electron stealer. They steal electrons off of molecules, making them into a free radical. That's what a free radical is. It's a molecule missing an electron. So the carbon-60, being spherical in shape, has the ability to give up electrons and without collapsing. That's the spherical structure is really important why it makes it work. So it gives an electron to the molecule that was stolen electron by a toxin. And so now that molecule functions. It knows what it is. If your molecule's missing electron, it doesn't know what it is anymore. It doesn't produce, it doesn't function. And they have, no matter where they're located, they can be located in any part of your body. It's just that that they happen to concentrate, in your liver, in your brain, in your eyeball, and your, anywhere, in your muscles. The carbon-60 will actually give an electron to that and get that, make that free radical not a free radical, make it a complete molecule, and then it functions.
Right. So what happens to the carbon-60 molecule once it gives up that electron? It's no longer carbon-60. Is the carbon-60 molecule, is the carbon-60 attached to the molecule, and so they're just sharing the electron?
It does both. It shares an electron or donates an electron.
So when it donates the electron, what happens to it? Because it's no longer carbon-60, right? Because it does.
Well, yeah, if they share an electron, it's carbon-60, but it's sharing one electron, so carbon-59 and a half. Okay. So it's close. So it's not quite a free radical itself because it's only missing 1/60th of its electrons.
Right.
So it doesn't do any damage. It doesn't pick it up. It's stable. A carbon-60 molecule, it can give up a couple electrons, a few electrons, without any degradation in the properties.
It itself does not become a radical or free radical because it's missing an electron or two?
Well, that's a good question. If it's missing an electron or two, but it's stable. It doesn't really have to seek one. It's only got 1/60th of the pull if it's missing one electron to steal an electron, where free radicals are fully missing an electron. So they're, yeah.
So how long and who made this discovery? How long ago was it made, and who made this discovery of the benefits of C60?
Well, carbon-60 has been around forever. It's been in the intergalactic space, and it's in where lightning strikes by trees. It's found in the soot of a candle. Tiny amounts of it. But it was discovered in 1985 by Smalley, Croto, and Curl at Rice University, and they discovered it in 1985. And then it was awarded a Nobel Prize in 1996, which was 11 years later, which was pretty quick for getting a Nobel Prize. And they named it after Buckminster Fuller, the architect that was in the 50s and 60s that built the geodesic dome for the Olympics. And so it looked like a dome, and so they named it Buckyballs or Fulleranes after Buckminster Fuller. But about the turn of the century, people really started, using the product. It was a lubricant additive, carbon-60. They used it for lubrication. They used it for solar cells, and people were getting exposed to it. And so that's when they started a study about 2008. They did the toxicity study. They loaded up some rats, and that's when they found out their lifespan nearly doubled.
Are those rats still alive? And they moved to New York City, didn't they?
Yeah, they left the country. They left the planet. Matter of fact, the last one, they wanted to end the experiment, so they actually exterminated the last rat because it was living too long, and they wanted to wrap up and write their paper and be done with it.
Okay. You mentioned the Nobel Prize in 11 years. That is very fast, but 1996 now is still almost 30 years ago. Why isn't the knowledge of this more like a household name? If the results are as claimed, why I knew about it, but I don't think Ron and GD had heard about it before this morning. I don't know if that's true, but I would. Most people I talk to don't know about it. Why?
Well, there's a lot of talk about carbon-60, and they don't know about it because it's a relatively new product. It only was discovered in 2000 and 1985, and then put into supplements. And really, about 2018 is when it really took off, or people, there was an influencer, Cliff High, spoke about it, and then it really, it mushroomed at that point, and it really blew up. And that's when people started to realize it. But I've been working on carbon-60 since 2012. That's when I developed a process to produce clean carbon-60, which is a very small molecule size and very bioavailable. So ours is different than most others on the market, all the others on the market. It's just
now you say in nature carbon-16 is small amounts are in soot. Are there other things, like if you burnt a match, would it be like in a burnt match tip would be a small amount or something like that, or is it something particular to soot as opposed to something else has been destroyed by fire?
Well, I would imagine there would be a small amount in any kind of fire or burning or something like that. They find it in candles. They find it, very small amounts. They've used carbon for a long, long time. And some of the carbon, they found it in shungite rock over in Karelia, Russia. Shungite, you probably heard about shungite, has EMF negating properties. Well, that's the carbon-60 in there that is doing the work, that's doing the load of the shungite, taking care of those EMFs and the toxins. You can put some crushed up shungite rock in a glass of water, let it sit for 3 days, drink it, and you'll get the benefits of the carbon-60. And that's what they did over in Karelia, Russia. They drank the water coming through the rocks.
Now, the reason why I asked the question I did is because when I was a child, I had a propensity to strike. And when I say child, I mean like 3 to 4 years old, before kindergarten. I used to strike matches. I learned to strike matches because I used to like to eat the burnt tips. So is that, don't look at me like that. Every kid does it. But so the question is that the body craving something other than natural, or is that just a child being like going through an oral phase?
I could answer that. It all stems from that accident when you fell out of the crib and your head hit the pavement. That's where that came from. We've seen that very
well. Carbon is in all foods. Okay, that's why anything that's alive, any plants, vegetables, fish, meat, any beef or anything, they're all carbon-based beings. We're carbon-based. We're 23% carbon. So we eat food to get the carbon to process it. That's why we eat the food. Is carbon is one of the big ingredients that we need in our body to function. So yeah, there might have been some craving, but that's a lot of phosphorus and sulfur in a tip of a match. So I don't know.
No, he's a very messed up person. We'll move on from that. Well, just remind me to talk about that after this segment is over, about what's wrong.
I'm going to excuse myself for a moment. I have to take this call. I'll be back.
Okay, yeah, you go take that call. And the clip that I wanted to show you, I did take it for 2.5 months. I took it every day, twice a day. Mm-hmm. My big problem with it, with the person who supplied it to me, was the olive oil, and it just tasted terrible to me. And I'm sure, it probably doesn't to everybody, but for me, that was a big issue. I did, in all honesty, feel better. I'm not sure if that was mental, like a placebo effect on me, but I did feel more energy. I felt better after 2 months. But with your product, have you done anything to make it more palatable for people like me who just could not stand the taste of olive oil?
Yes, we have. When I initially started this process of making carbon-60, we studied different oils. We bought, a dozen different olive oils. We bought different carrier oils, different vegetable oils, different seed oils, and we tried them all out. We tested them: avocado oil, um, sunflower oil, which is what we ended up using. But it's a high quality sunflower oil. It's got the low linoleic acid, which is the omega-6s. Seed oils have a bad rap because most of them have a high omega-6. And the one we use has a very low omega-6, actually lower than olive oil and lower than avocado oil. In coconut oil, we studied coconut oil too, but it didn't suspend. There's a difference between our carbon-60. The particle size is so much smaller in size, and we put it into what's called a colloidal suspension. So we can put as much carbon-60 in our product as we want to. We've never had an upper limit. Right. Whereas the other carbon-60s out there, they're a very large cluster of particles of carbon-60 stuck together. That's why they mix it for a couple of weeks. And they can only get to a saturation point of like 0.8 grams per liter. So
I'm just confused. Why does it need to be in and out in some kind of oil base, or could you just take the C60 and just raw?
Well, it's like eating soot. It'd stick to your tongue and be black.
Oh, all right.
I mean, it's kind of what it would be like. It's very fine dust.
All right. How about smokable?
We put it. Well, you could put it in. People in vaping or something like that. I'm sure you could, but you don't want to smoke that glycerin anyways. That's what they use to carry us for the smoke.
Well, vaping. You know what? You brought up vaping. I wasn't even thinking that, but that doesn't sound like a bad option to somebody like me.
No, it wouldn't be bad. It'd be better. Kind of a good thing and a bad thing at the same time.
Right.
Yeah. But the olive oils, there are a lot of them are adulterated. They put canola oil or some other oil in there. So and they have the really good olive oil you has a peppery taste, and it kind of burns the back of your throat. And I didn't want that associated with my carbon-60 product. So we searched, and we finally found. We tried several different sunflower oils, and we find one with the low linoleic acid, the omega-6s, and there's no taste to it. Our product is very black too because it's very rich in carbon. The particle size is so much smaller, the light doesn't get to pass through it.
Interesting.
So ours is and ours you only take 2/3 of a milliliter, 1/8 of a teaspoon versus 1 or 2 teaspoons, which all the competitors take.
Yeah. Now, I mentioned that in that clip that I was going to play that I failed to play.
Yeah.
I was taking it twice a day. I don't think that was recommended to me. I think I just took that on myself. And I do remember asking, am I now chained to this product? Like it's going to improve my lifespan, which was the idea behind it. So if I'm going to live beyond 100, do I have to take this every day for the rest of my life beyond 100? And the question was not answered by the person who was he didn't know. He said it's possible that because he didn't seem to or have the knowledge of whether continued use is important, or could limited use have the same effect? What is your take on? Am I gonna, if once I start on this, am I committed to it for life?
Well, can you overuse it?
Well, you can't overuse it. It just passes through you like an unused vitamin. So there's no overuse of it. Now, taking too much of the oil, 1 or 2 teaspoons of oil is your limit is about 2 teaspoons a day, and you get that in breads and other foods and stuff like that. So you're taking too much of your oil, your saturated fats. But if you can't. If you take it, like I've taken carbon-60, this is our product here. We have I've taken this for, oh my gosh, for 12 years now, longer than probably anybody else on the planet that's been exposed to or taken carbon-60. I've taken it longer than anybody else that I know of. And I'll take it every day, once a day, 2/3 of a dropper full. And I don't, if I stop taking it, like which I've done, I stopped taking it for a couple of weeks and I go off it. And then I do feel tired. I feel lethargic. I feel slow. I feel my age. Okay. But if I jump back on it, I take it after 2 weeks of being off of it. I'll take it in my mouth orally, and it goes through your body quickly. In 2 minutes, I'm back in the game. I'm back where I was before. I regained myself.
Yeah. So my question is, if your health is kind of like affected by free radicals, in 2 weeks, how many free radicals did you accumulate as opposed to someone who just started taking it at age 40?
Well, we have toxic air, toxic food, toxic water. It's all around us. You can't get away from it. So it depends upon how many toxins you have intaking. People that do not, they tell me, say, I don't feel anything when I take your carbon 60. I haven't noticed anything. I tell them these 4 things. You take a good regimen of supplements, you eat organic, you don't have any health issues going on, and you work out. And they go, yeah, that's me. And basically they're healthy. They don't have an accumulation of free radicals.
Yeah.
But with all the toxins that overload our body, it increases the free radicals. Our body can't keep up with it. And so like a supplement like carbon 60 does help.
So what you're saying then, in the 2 weeks that you stopped taking the carbon 60, is that your lifestyle went to shit? You started eating crap, and you stop exercising?
You still eat junk food every once in a while. I mean, you can't get away from it.
Well, that's the thing, like, because I think if you and when I was doing this, it generally during the pandemic, I was isolated from my bad behaviors, but but I think you can't expect, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, you can't expect to see any results if you are taking this stuff and then you're smoking a lot of weed, you're drinking like a lot of alcohol, and you're not working out, not doing any exercise. It's really all for naught, right? You're not going to see any real improvement in your life quality. You have to change other parts of your life. Yes.
Yeah, you're overloading the toxins coming into your body. Yeah, you want to eat, you try to eat organic, which we can. You don't want to eat out very much because they use all the, the lower quality products in your food, and like the canola oils and everything like that, because they're very inexpensive. So yeah, if you eat organic, eat some fruits and vegetables, do the right thing, you're going to minimize all the toxins in your body.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, you can't. The idea I'm just trying to put out there is it's not a cure-all. People are not just going to get carbon 60 or C60 from you and think they don't have to change. I can continue to smoke 2 packs a day, smoke weed like crazy, drink alcohol like crazy, and why am I not feeling any better?
You want to change your lifestyle regardless, but carbon 60 will negate those free radicals and toxins that come into your body. And if you overload it, you're overloaded. Some people take carbon 60 twice a day. We recommend once a day, 1/8 of a teaspoon once a day. And that works for most people. And they see results somewhat fairly quickly, usually sometimes in a couple of minutes. But typically a couple hours or 4 days, most people report, about 95% report they have more energy. 8 to 10 days, approximately 80% of the people report they have clarity of mind, they can think better. And then their vision gets better, and their acne goes away if you put it on topically and so forth like that.
Have any experiments been done with people who are already severely aged? I'm not like going to like an assisted living or a nursing home and doing a prolonged experiment to see if we could reverse the effects of aging, especially when it comes to cognitive ability. Have any experiments been done or reported results from studies like that?
I don't think any formal experiments have done. I haven't heard of that. I would love to get this into a nursing home. It would improve the quality of life of the patrons that are in there. The nurse would have less activity to do. They would live longer. They'd be healthier, more self-sufficient. And the nursing home would, come out ahead and, have a longer living customer that takes care of themselves more so.
Yeah, they want to keep people in those beds.
They want to keep people in there. So it would be a win-win-win situation if some nursing home, put everybody, but nursing homes, everybody has their own doctor. There's very few nursing homes that one doctor runs the whole gamut. So everybody has their own doctor. So to convince everybody is very hard to do. I've tried to do that. I was trying to do that experiment exactly. But,
well, I am very tied into nursing home industry and assisted living. I'll talk to people about this, but I'm just curious, especially from because you're talking about quality of life and the physical stuff, but the cognitive ability, the cognitive decline, that's the scariest thing. And I have some surveys in the recent past, in recent days of people's biggest fears, and the mental acuity is definitely people's biggest. Getting old, we expect the body to kind of decline in some ways, but the scary part is the mental stuff. And have we seen any indication that this product or the molecule will help people maintain mental health? Mental health is not exactly the right word, but cognitive ability.
Yes, we have. I've got many people. We have thousands of testimonies coming in, and many of them are people that say, I can think better, I can think clearer. I remember to take my carbon 60, but I don't remember to take my meds anymore. That type of thing. I have people that I have lawyers, I have crypto traders, I have stockbrokers taking, and I had a crypto trader tell me, he said, I made $1 million using your product. Your product benefited me. I could think faster, think quicker. I made $1 million. He said, I bet I'm the one that made the most money with using your product. And I said, no, this one guy, he had 700 million and he crested $1 billion a few years later. And he was a crypto trader, and he said, I use your product. I met with him. We sat down, we had breakfast. We go meet him. I'm in Colorado, so we met him up in Evergreen. We met several times. And he says, no, your product really enhances my mental acuity, my sharpness, how fast I can think, better decision making. Me personally, I went through a divorce, and I had a big land issue with a developer. Okay. And where the land was buildable, but then it was not because the developer, they pulled a fast one. Let's put it that way.
Right.
And so I sat down. I had three major tactics to go through to free up that land, major issues. So I just organized them one at a time. Got one done, got another one done, got another one done. It was just an organizational factor. It makes your mind at ease more. I've had people that had what do you call it? Depression. They lost a few loved ones, and we had a booth, and they came by my booth, and we have these tiny little pink Baskin Robbins spoons. We give out a sample, and she came back 5 minutes later. She says, "I got to tell you, I lost 2 loved ones this month, and I've been so depressed. And in 5 minutes or 10 minutes after taking your product, all my depression and anxiety is gone." So yes, we have that all the time.
Wow.
Now, okay, I had 2 questions real quick. One, the guy that was the crypto trader, if his mental acuity, seems to me if his mental acuity had increased that much, he'd have focused on making real money instead of crypto money. At least I would have. But
no, you're wrong there. You're wrong.
I stand corrected.
I'll explain later. I don't want to take Bob's time with this, but we'll talk about the crypto stuff later. Remind me.
And right. I'm saying, and it was the other day, my wife and I were in the supermarket, and I had some banter with the deli people, and I was making everyone laugh. And this one woman, a few minutes later, saw my wife and I in line, and she said to me, "I want to thank you for making me laugh because I lost my dog, and I've been depressed for the past 2 months." And just hearing your laughter and hearing your jokes and stuff made me feel the best I felt in months. Mm-hmm. So, but that's not C60. That's just me funny. So I'm just saying, what's the difference between someone just feeling better because they're happy or just feeling better because they took some C60? No.
Well, there's some truth to that too, because
it's all true. I didn't make that up. That really did happen. I can get my wife to verify it.
Going through the divorce and developer problem, I was depressed. I was, you force yourself to smile. You turn the corners of your mouth up, and physically that does something to you mentally. So that helps a lot. Fake it till you make it. And if you fake it, it'll help.
I have.
He's scary. When Matt does it, he's scary.
I have a template. People talked about forcing yourself to smile will automatically make you feel better. I do it, and I see myself, and I'm like, oh, that makes me feel worse. Look how creepy I look.
Yeah, when you do that, it's like something from Stephen King.
But that that was a big question with me. It was like when I was taking the C60 and feeling better, I questioned, is this placebo effect, or is it because I'm expecting to feel better, or is it actually the result of some molecule? And I never really was able to answer that. But
we have a pet product. There's no placebo with pets. The pets get better. They feel better. They're more active. We have an equine product you put on the hooves that stops foundering or laminitis ringbone navicular. So this will save your horse. You don't have to shoot your horse because the hoofs go bad. And so there's no placebo effect there. And
well, but animals, domesticated animals will respond to the human around them. Like our cat, if we act weird, our cat's going to act weird. If we act calm, our cat acts calm. You know, I'm not saying it doesn't work all the time. We still had a cat die from heart failure, but he died peacefully.
I have a customer. When he brings the bottle out, he's got like 3 cats or 4 cats. All the cats line up and they see the bottle and